and you think doctors just play golf on Wednesdays. We have Dr. Andy Moore, Dr. Paul Carney, thank you for coming in. They represent Surgery on Sunday. Dr. Moore started it. Paul is the chairman.
Chairman now of the board, yes.
And Sharon is in the middle. And thank you for, we're going to get to you in a minute. And we're probably going to break some HIPAA laws when we start talking to you about what these guys did with you and to you. Andy, talk about what spurred you to start Surgery on Sunday.
Well, I've practiced in Lexington for about 35 years. My father was also a practicing physician in the community, and we never ever turned down anybody that did not have insurance. And when we first started, it was relatively easy to take care of these people. You know, you're usually somebody in your front office would come back and say, there's no way this person can pay you anything. And we would make a simple phone call to the hospital and say, look, I'm doing this for free and we expect you to do the same. But as time went on, it got more complex. And it was multiple phone calls and begging, you know, can I please do this? And it just got tougher and tougher. And I said, well, we just need to do this in a more organized fashion. And although we've been in existence for about 10 years, I really have been thinking about this for about 15 years, and I just didn't have all the skills to pull it off. Mm-hmm. And finally I surrounded myself with a pool of people, lawyers, accountants, and grant writers that could make it happen. And so in September of 2005, we did our first bunch of people.
Was it accidental that the initials are SOS?
No, that's exactly, that was chosen that way to sort of, you know, we're taking care of people that are having problems. It stands for Surgery on Sunday, and Sunday's not necessarily an accident either. And so, you know, it's a group of people that are volunteers that are very motivated, and they're all spiritual. They really want to help humanity and help people. I think in the healthcare profession in general, it's that way. You know, I've never had anybody that I called up and said, "Look, I need some help," and been turned down. You know, they say, they'll say, "Yeah, I'll be there."
And Paul, as the chairman, what's your overview of Surgery on Sunday?
Well, I've taken over the reins from Andy, and what we've done is merely expanded the program and tried to improve some of the marketing. You say, well, you have to market for patients. I think it's important. Marketing's probably the wrong word. I think we need to get our message out.
Let's get some exposure. Sure.
Yeah, we need exposure, and I think with the administrative group that I have now, we've done a great deal to get sort of on the map, so that potential referral centers know that we exist and patients know we exist. So that we can deliver the care or get patients to us that need our care that can't afford it and can't afford it in any other venue. So as the chair, all I've done is carry on what Andy already did, and what we try to do is get a representative group of people from the community that represent all aspects of the community. So we have clergy, we have lawyers, we have somebody from the Hispanic community. And that allows us to get our message out. We message a lot of people in churches, and I think that's all important too, so that we can keep this program going, because it's an essential component of the healthcare system. No matter what you hear about the Affordable Care Act and the federal government, there are tons of people still that don't qualify for either Medicaid, can't afford insurance premiums on these health insurance plans, and they need something done so that they can continue with their lives. And I think that's our role. And we've tried to broaden our services too, so now we provide a whole host of surgical services, all the way down to regular dentistry, ophthalmology, endoscopy. There's nothing that we won't take on that we can do as an outpatient, and we have a really good, committed group of surgeons, nurses, and the support staff that help us carry out the mission. And I don't want to take too much away from the Lexington Surgery Center. We also have an organization that has allowed us to use their venue. That is really a linchpin of this whole thing, that we have a venue that we can move into and work in, and the people there have been remarkable, leading to the success of the program.
Surgery center, yes, but all these doctors and nurses and staff that donate their time, I mean, you need both, and it's a miracle that both have happened because of you.
Well, I mean, we have like 400 volunteers. On any given Sunday, we'll have maybe 80 volunteers. You know, 5 or 6 of those will be surgeons. So you can imagine the backup staff that you need. And, you know, we have social workers, we have interpreters, we have people that do transcription for us. And all these people are giving up their Sundays with their families to be with us, to help people, you know, with the next step in their life. To, you know, we basically are dealing with the working poor, and we want them to, you know, just get over this little hump in their life and move on and be successful as they've already been.
Sharon, I'm going to break a HIPAA law. What happened to you, and how did you get connected with these gentlemen and their organization?
Well, I had a growth on my forehead. It was a lesion that had taken several years, but had grown quite large. And I would hide it with my hair, and you know, and just keep trying not to worry about it, because you know, I don't have insurance. I don't have a means of buying any affordable insurance, because that doesn't seem to exist anymore. But it had finally grown so large that I just couldn't hide it anymore. You know, and it was noticeable. It made me self-conscious, and even then, I would just try not to worry about it. And then it started to become a little sore, and I was complaining about it one day, and my boss's wife said, maybe you could, you know, go to this clinic and have it looked at. And I went to the clinic and spoke with a boy working for the clinic that said, let me tell you about this program called Surgery on Sunday. And I had no idea. I had no idea it existed. So he gave me a referral to see Dr. Michael Moore, Dr. Moore's brother, and they were incredible. They were incredible. I went to see the doctor, and he looked at my forehead and he said, this is going to leave a scar, but you know, your biggest problem right now, your immediate problem, is your blood pressure is incredibly high. And he said that it was running dangerously high, and I had no idea because it had been that long since I had seen a doctor. So he insisted that I had that looked at, so I went to the Georgetown Medical Mission in Georgetown, and in Georgetown, Kentucky, and they were great. You know, they were great. They fixed me up. I came back to see Dr. Mike, and he scheduled me for surgery and removed the growth on my forehead, and you would never know it, you know, to look at my face.
So this medical issue that you have carried with you for years, and very self-conscious about it, these guys have changed your life.
Well, they've done more than change my life. I would argue that they have literally saved it. For one thing, I had no idea that my blood pressure was running high. You know, and that could have caused me some serious medical issues. You know, right away. The other thing was when Dr. Mike went to remove the growth from my forehead, they found some cancer cells in there. Some skin cancer cells, and he called in another doctor, you know, a pathologist, to take a look at it and just make sure, you know, that they were both comfortable with, you know, the idea that they got it all out.
So the name of the program is Heart of Gold. you guys and your team all have hearts of gold. To do what you're doing to save people's lives, change their lives, is remarkable. And we started here in Little Old
I
Lexington.
think we would argue that we get more out of it than we put in, and the joy that you get
Sure.
when you go to this program on any given Sunday is it's hard to duplicate that joy with other things that you do in your life.
We've got a few minutes left, and we'll give the website if you'd like to give the website. Do you guys know the website?
I don't.
We're going to put it. We're going to put it up on the screen. We're
Yeah.
going to read it.
Yeah.
I do not know the website.
Okay.
That honestly
We'll put
says
it up on the screen. We'll read it.
www.surgeryonsunday.org.
Surgery on.
Surgery on Sunday. Okay, we'll get it up on the screen.
.org.
Okay.
Yes.
There it is. Yeah. Surgeryonsunday.org.
We want people to be more exposed to what Surgery on Sunday is doing. But for you gentlemen and your team, exposure is a barrier. Do you need funding? Do you need doctors? Do you need staff? What are your needs right now?
Well, I think the biggest need really is well, there's two. One is funding. And so funding is ongoing. We are a relatively efficient not-for-profit. We only have one full-time employee. Everyone else volunteers. So funding is continuous because we do pay a small overhead. We do pay a small cost to the Lexington Surgery Center to use their facility, just to cover some of their costs. And the other thing is really exposure, getting the message out to everybody that we exist, and that they can refer patients to us that qualify for the program. And then the last one really is keeping our networking with all the other charitable medical organizations that exist. And the reason for that is they've got to keep their doors open in this time where some of the numbers are falling and many of them are seeing fewer and fewer patients because they've gone onto the Medicaid rolls. But you know, like many federal programs, there's sort of a to and fro with them, and these people will be back needing care, and we have to keep our doors open. So I think that's important.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people were given a Medicaid policy that has a deductible of $6,600 for an individual and $14,000 for a family. And anybody, I couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just, you just don't use it. Yeah, I mean.
Well, for what you've done, I know there are barriers, but this is a great town to help. So, Paul, thank you very much. Andy, for what you've done, it's fantastic. Sharon, congratulations.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Paul Chartier. Go to the website, learn more about Surgery on Sunday, and we'll see you next time.